Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this part number 3. So in the last video we were able to plug our GraphQL layer to our data layer, who was GoPG with Postgres. Everything was working fine. We just get some issue, and this issue is finally one of those you get a lot in GraphQL. So the issue was finally, so I'm gonna start a server just to make sure. So if I start a server and I query this meetup stuff, everything is working fine. I get all my meetup. I have 5 meetup now. But the issue is each meetup need his user, his owner. So for each meetup, I need to fetch a user. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's not that good because this is what we call an n+1 query. It just finally more and more you're gonna get meetup, more and more they're gonna always increment. So this is a thing I want to fix today. And for that, we're gonna make use of this awesome library called Dataloaden. So Dataloaden, it's another kind of a generator. So they're gonna generate code for us. And this is gonna work with finally Dataloader. So if you, if you have done GraphQL before, example with Node and stuff like that, you can remember then you use Dataloader to just finally, what you want to do, it's kind of batch. So you want to, example, in our case, we want to collect each of the user ID we want before we do a query. So we're gonna kind of collect all of them, and when we know it's done, now we fetch the user, and after that we get back all the user we need. In our case, it just, I think it's 2 user. In our case, it's almost always the same user, but in other case, we're gonna need other one. So just to make maybe our app better for that, just to make it better, I'm gonna create another row, and first meetup of John, description. Here I'm gonna say 2 because this is the ID of John. So now just to showing you, if I'm fetching that again, the last one is gonna be John, and now you see I'm fetching here user ID 2, okay? So yeah, so this is what we're gonna fix. But before that, like I told you in the last video, we start to get kind of pretty messy with everything inside the resolver here. I don't really like this. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna create a new package called GraphQL. This package, that's gonna be where we're gonna finally move up our resolver, move up our model gen, move up our generated.go, and we're gonna keep the GQL YAML there and the schema GraphQL. Here, the resolver, we need to make sure now he use the package GraphQL. For me, Golang do this for me. Also this one. Now what I want to do is I want to create other file called user resolver. So this user resolver, that's gonna be where we're gonna just put finally everything about the user. We're gonna do the same for the meetup. So meetup resolver. And that's it for the new file. So what we do, it's finally inside our resolver, I want to take out, you see meetup resolver? Those 3 functions right there. I'm gonna cut that and paste that there. And I just need to import this context. Make sure you import the context from context. After that, I want to do the same for the user resolver. So user resolver right there. And now I'm gonna do the same with the context. And finally, inside that, I'm gonna create 2 other files called query resolver. And I'm gonna create another one called mutation resolver. It just, I mean, why not? We don't want to get too much messy here. So mutation resolver right there. And now I'm gonna import the context. And now here I need also to import the error. And I import the error from error. And the query, so that was, okay, yeah, that was mutation. And now I want the query resolver. Some stuff, perfect. Query resolver, user resolver, perfect. Now here, you remember, we generate some code. So we need to tell GQL gen, then we have modified some of this stuff. So example, our generate, we want that to be inside GraphQL generate, our model gen, GraphQL model gen, and our resolver, GraphQL resolver. Now, just to make sure everything's still working, I'm gonna jump back here and I'm gonna generate. So you can run this command, that's it. For me, I'm gonna run it. And if everything is working, you see, they detect our resolver exists and they have modified nothing. So everything's still at the position they should. So now inside our terminal, I'm gonna just rerun the server to make sure that Golang can catch any kind of error if we did some. And now if I run it, boom, everything's still running. Just to showing you, I'm gonna refresh and running it again. Boom, everything's still working. Perfect. So first step, we have done that and I think it's pretty great. Now everything's gonna be at the same place and now it's easier. Oh, now I need to modify some stuff in my meetup and yeah. So now, what we want to do. So the way the Dataloader work, it's first, if I open it, it's first, we want to run this kind of command, okay? So from inside the package, we want to add the Dataloader in. So in our case, we want to run that from the GraphQL stuff. And what we want to do, so you're gonna see it's gonna be pretty funny. So I'm gonna copy paste that. And inside my terminal, I want to cd inside GraphQL. And I'm gonna paste this command, but don't click enter yet. What I want, it's a user loader. That's perfect. Here, it's which type will be the array of keys, the slice of keys. Here, in our case, it's gonna be a string because we make use of, in GraphQL, we make use of ID and the GraphQL gen put ID as a string. So this is what we want. After that, what we want here, it's a slice of pointer. And now here we need to tell them where this thing is. So I need to tell them meet me up slash model slash dot user. So here, getup.com EQuimper meet me up is the same name you have used inside your Go module when you've done this thing. Slash model is the package and dot user is this thing. So slash model dot user. The thing is, if I run that right now, we get no match. The thing is, I don't know why, but in their documentation, they didn't tell us, but we need to wrap this thing inside quotes like that. So now if everything is working, I click enter, go download. So first thing, they installing the library. And after that, they run that. And now if everything is working, you see, they have created a brand new file called userloader.gen. This file, you're never gonna edit that. You don't need that. The only thing they do is they generate some of the code we need. And as you can see, they make use of our model user. If I click that, I'm jumping right to the model user. So inside that, this is all the code we will need to create, but we don't need because they generate it. And the reason they do this is because in Go, we don't have generic. So they have some, don't have generic, have some pros and cons. And one of the cons is the fact that you need to repeat a lot of the code, because when you want to do something, example, when you want to create some code we're gonna get many type, you need to create this for each type you think you're gonna receive. So that's why in Go you see this kind of a lot of generator and things like that, because people finally just create a library who gonna make our life easier. But yeah, it's so this is the same stuff happen with our generated Go here. They need to generate all the stuff for us. Yeah. So now, how can we work with this Dataloader? Okay. So the way that's gonna work, it's we're gonna create. So you see here we have user loader gen. I'm gonna create user loader. That's it. Okay. And after that, I'm gonna create another file called Dataloader. So we're gonna start with the Dataloader. So make sure we are inside this file. I'm gonna just remove that. And also just to make sure everyone see that really well, I'm gonna make sure then I increment the font. Perfect. Now here, what we're gonna do? We're gonna start to create a Dataloader middleware. So this Dataloader middleware is gonna be, and I can type it like that. This Dataloader middleware is gonna be finally just on top of our GraphQL layer, and they're gonna just finally take the user loader, who is Jen from here. So if we look here, we have a user loader. And this user loader batch and cache the request. So like I told you, they're gonna have here a function called fetch, who fetch receive a slice of a string for the keys. Like I told you, this is what we say, we want a string because this is the ID. And after that, we're gonna need to return a slice to pointer to model user. And I think I make a mistake. I don't want a slice of a slice here. What I want was, yeah, I don't want a slice. Oh, beauty of this generator, it's I'm gonna return back here and I'm gonna remove the slice. I just want the pointer. And now they're gonna regenerate for me, and this is what I want. Okay. After that, here we have a key or a field called how long to done before sending a batch. So this is that time we want before we start sending the batch to the our data layer. Here, this is limit the maximum of keys to send. So 0 equal no limit, but for us, we're gonna use 100. So we don't want to fetch more than 100 keys. After that, we have some cache, match, and here they have some mutex because we don't want to get a race condition. So now, and about the mutex stuff, I was thinking about doing video for that. So if you would like to get video about the sync package, mutex, and weight group, and all this stuff, I can do a video about that. It's pretty awesome. When you figure out how that works, you're gonna love it. So yeah. So this data layer, we want it to receive three things. We want it to receive a DB, who's gonna be a PGDB pointer, and also a next who's gonna be an HTTP handler, because remember this thing, it's a middleware. So this thing need to return an HTTP handler, and this is what we're gonna return, handler func, who here gonna receive a function. Inside a function, we receive our HTTP response writer, and also a request with a pointer. Okay. Inside that, we're gonna create here a user loader, who's gonna be type of user loader. So this is the user loader from the generate user loader gen, and we don't need to import nothing because it have the same package if you look here. Now here at the top of this file, I'm gonna create a user loader key, and that's gonna be called, not inside, user loader, like that. It's just because we want this key to be used with the context, and for the context, we want to make sure then the key are unique. So I'm gonna just create here a constant. So we're gonna make sure then I'm gonna always use the same. Here for our max to our loader, we're gonna use a max batch. Like I told you, I want to maximum batch 100 user. I want to wait for 1 time that millisecond, so for 1 millisecond. And after that, I'm gonna have the fetch method. So the fetch method, this is what we need to follow. I don't like keys, I'm gonna say IDs, because what this is really IDs. And I don't want to name those things, and I don't want to name my error. Okay. After that here, okay, that's gonna be really, really simple. What we do here, it's first thing, I want to create an empty slice of pointer user. And after that here, I'm gonna create my model from PG, where I want to pass I want to dereference the user. And I'm gonna do a where condition with a select, okay? We're gonna fill up this where after that. After that here, what I can do, it's if we have an error and it's not nil, I want to return nil. But now the thing is, look here, I cannot just return the error because we need to be a slice of error. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just create an error of slice and I'm gonna pass the error. And finally here, I'm gonna return the user and nil. And if you want to just make it simpler, you can also just go like that. So the caller gonna manage the error. So now here, how are we gonna work with the where? So the beauty of working with SQL is the SQL have this in keyword. So the in keyword, finally you kind of give it like an array of whatever you have, and they're gonna find an ID inside this array. And the way you deal with that is you just put parenthesis with this interrogation point. You put a comma here because the where need two things. You need first thing the condition and the param, which can be an empty interface, who can be everything. And PG gave us a in function, and this in function is gonna do this where ID in. It accept a slice and return a wrapper that can be used with PostgreSQL. So now what I can do here is just pass my slice of IDs. Now finally, the only thing I need to do is pass this user loader to the context. So I can do context. So my context, I'm gonna take the context with value. I'm gonna get my context from my request. I'm gonna say the name need to be this user loader keys. And finally, I want that to become this user loader. And at the end, I'm gonna say next serve HTTP. So this is the middleware. So we want to serve, we want to go further in the request. We pass it back the same response writer, but we just gonna kind of mutate the context because we want the request now to have this new context modified with the value here. So this is our data layer. Yeah, it's pretty what I want to do. I create a user loader. I think I'm gonna delete that for now. I'm gonna just keep this data layer. It's gonna be just simpler. Now here, what I want to do is I'm gonna just create, like I've done in the REST API course. It's I want to create just a method who's gonna get my user loader easier for me. Okay, because I want to make sure that all the code's gonna be typed and I don't want to copy my type. So here I'm gonna receive the context. And the only thing I need to do here is to return CDX, that value. I pass my user loader key. And here finally, I'm gonna cast that to a user loader pointer. So I can use that everywhere in my code. Now, how can we make it work? So to make it work, we're gonna jump back in our server because this is the entry point of everything. Now what I'm gonna do, it's after my config here, I'm gonna create a variable called queryHandler, and I'm gonna take this handler GraphQL new executable schema right there. Just because I don't want that to become too much messy. And now here, that's gonna become GraphQL dot Dataloader. Yeah, so this is what I forgot. I want to import that. And yeah, so I'm gonna say Dataloader middleware. And because in the Go, when you want to export something, you need to have a uppercase, else that's gonna become kind of private. So I have my Dataloader middleware. My Dataloader middleware need a database and the next HTTP handler. So for the database, it's quite easy. We pass the same DB instance we have created. And for the next, now I can just pass this query handler. So they're gonna kind of inject everything we need inside the query handler for that. Now the thing is, if I'm starting my server, so I'm gonna start it. So here you see, I'm inside GraphQL, so I need to jump back to become inside where we have our stuff. I'm gonna now run our server to make sure the server still works. If I go there, it still do the same thing. Yeah, no magic at all. You need to use your stuff. So the way we're gonna work with that, you're gonna see it's gonna be pretty simple. It just, you need to know how to do this. So inside the meetup resolver, you remember it's the place where we have this user stuff. So this is how we can get the user from his parent with the meetup. So this is the case happen when we fetch the meetup and we want to fetch his child called user. So the user now here have access to his parent who have his ID, name and everything. So now I can remove this line because that's the issue here. This is the line where we get the user by ID. Now what I can do is I can say get user loader. I pass it the context and the user loader will return a user loader. This user loader have a function called load. Load a user by key. Batching and catching will be applied automatically. So this user loader have a load. We need to receive a key. The key is the string, the user ID of the current user you want to get. And this thing gonna return a pointer to a user and an error. And they do all the logic they need to return that. So in our case, inside is meetup resolver, we can call this load. And now here, the only thing we need to pass is inside the object, remember, is the meetup parent, have access to the user ID. So now if I save, now just to showing you, I'm gonna copy paste that. I'm gonna create a brand new file. I'm gonna just take a text. I'm gonna paste that, okay? This is what we do right now. So before Dataloader. Okay? So now I'm gonna close the server and restart the server. Everything looks like it worked, perfect. And now I'm gonna run the same command. Nothing has changed here, okay? But now, if we look here, look what happened. We get now this two query adult, just two query. We get the meetup here. So all the meetup. And after that here, we did collect and the fact we just want 2 and 1. The only issue it's now, I don't know if you see it, but the user ID sometimes get modified. You see? If I rerun it, now it's not supposed, the data 1 is not supposed to have the user 2. Because if we look back now inside our database, 1 is supposed to get the user ID 1. So this is something we need to fix. And this is the thing we're gonna do in the next video. So you're gonna see it's gonna be pretty simple. I want to make sure that I don't go too much further than inside this video. I want to make a small video, so yeah. So I hope you enjoy. At least we are pretty close to what we need. We're gonna just need to fix this issue. And you can see we win a lot because now this thing versus this thing, it's pretty crazy how we did remove a lot of stuff. Now everything is working, okay? We're good to go. The only issue is now when we do the Dataloader right there, we need to tell them, hey, this key go to this meetup, this user go to this meetup, and this user go to the other one. Because the thing is, a slice down keep his order. So yeah. So I hope you enjoy. We're gonna we're gonna fix that in the part number 4. And let me know in the comment if you have any question. Also, please subscribe if you didn't. Click the like button if this is something you like. And also, in my comment, just you can tell me if you kind of like this tutorial. I can go maybe further than what I was thinking. So, hope you enjoy and we talk in the next one. Bye everyone.